Hey guys, this is your girl Lynette from DALS Credit Solutions. It is Tuesday, July 7th, 2020, 7:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6:10 Central Standard Time, and we're going to talk about today the importance of the Queen. I'm going to allow some people to get on before I get started and try to share this with as many people as you can. Good evening, everyone. Let me see. All right, so my timeline. So I'm gonna let some people come on. Today's title on Credit Tip Tuesday is Understanding the Queen. The Queen is credit utilization. Excuse me if I'm a little hoarse. I've been talking a lot. Let me see. So if you guys can come on, share, like, the video. I'll be getting started shortly. Let me see here. Who can I share with? All right, guys, I'm just letting some people come on. If y'all want to let me know where you guys are tuning in from, it'd be very helpful. And also share this video. Hi, Miss Percy, how are you? I'm trying to see, let's see. So I'm sharing this with people, sharing this with different groups regarding Credit Tip Tuesday. I come on every Tuesday to give knowledge on different areas of credit. Today we're going to talk about credit utilization. Credit utilization is one of the most important factors of the credit report. A lot of people don't like credit cards because they don't understand money. However, this is going to give you guys some insight why credit utilization is extremely important. Sorry about that, I had a call. Why credit utilization is extremely important and why we needed to build our credit. So everybody's coming on. Let me know where you guys are viewing from. So we'll be getting started in a few moments, to discuss credit utilization. All right, so good evening, everyone. Hi, Nita. Hi, Tika, Persine. My daughter Denise is on. Thanks, everybody that's sharing the video. I'm beyond humble and grateful. So a lot of people, I'll get started. A lot of people don't understand credit utilization. They understand that, credit cards are needed to build credit. However, the importance of credit utilization is key to building your credit. We always talk about the different components, the 5 components: payment history, credit utilization, credit age, overall credit, and mixed credit. But everybody don't understand the Queen. And when I lecture this in my mentoring class, it's one of the most dominant lectures that we have. The Queen controls the board. The Queen controls the actual payment history, credit age, overall credit, and mixed credit because she has all 5 components. So when I call her the Queen, payment history might be the most abundant, but again, the Queen controls the room. The Queen controls the score. So that's why when you see people that have not the best credit, they either don't have enough credit limits or they destroyed their credit due to overall credit card usage. So as you guys come on, credit utilization, people that don't like credit cards don't understand money. So people are like, well, I don't want credit cards, and the reason I don't want credit cards is because I'm going to spend, I'm abuse it. But if you learn money, you'll understand credit. So different tips on building your credit when it comes to the utilization is always look at your overall report. The utilization is 30% of your credit score. In order for you to reach those peak when the numbers, you need to revolve your credit, meaning you must revolve your credit cards every month. So if you have $100 credit limit, you spend between 2 and 9% of that. So 2% is $2 and 9% is $9. Or if you want to spend a little bit more but don't go too far, to get the maximum utilization, you want to do no more than 15%. Because when you go over the actual credit utilization, you can again compromise the score. So you see a lot of people that have credit cards on their report that are authorized users. You have to sometimes watch that because your debt to income ratio. If you Sean, stop it. If you put too much debt, like far as good debt, on your credit report, knowing you have issues like with late payments and things like that, you're not going to actually benefit from the utilization, these limits. So I would like for someone to tell me if they have credit cards and the amounts. Things of that nature. You stop it. Sean's a mess. So if someone can give me an example of the amount of credit limits they have, I can show you how to not only understand how it revolves, but how you should use them and pay them. Let me see. So anyone brave enough to put their credit limits out? All right, so for example, thank you, Sean. I love Sean so much. So 1,000, 250, 350, and another 250. So you have a total of, looks like $1,850 worth of utilization. Limit, excuse me. So when you have 1850, you wanna divide this by the actual girl. So you wanna actually get the whatever amounts that you spend on your credit cards. You want to divide that by your credit limits. This is how you know if you went over your 2 to 9%, which is standard, so you can get the maximum 30%, or if you went below that, you stay in those brackets. So for $1,800, so you say if she spent $180, she would be at 10%. So she would want to spend between $150 and $160 between all 3 or 4 of the credit cards she has. So when her next cycle to revolve, she should have between 2 and 9% utilization to capitalize on that 30% that's utilized by the credit. So if you go over, you won't get that 30%. If you go under, oh my goodness, if you go over, you won't get the 30%. If you go under, you will capitalize on that 30%. So some of my mentees are on here, and we talk about the queen. The queen, when she walk in the room. So the queen in a game of chess, you have to look left and right. If she doesn't move, if the kings think they're going to move, nobody moves without the queen. So when the queen steps into the room, meaning she steps on the credit report, she has to be right. So if you get limits of 1,000, 250, 250, and 100, I think that's something Sean said, you want to always, especially when she's about to report to the credit report, you need to make sure it goes over the 2 to 9%. I'm sorry. If she goes over between the 2 to 9%, she's going to drop in score. So a lot of people come on and get these credit cards and they immediately start using and go at 50% or 60%. And I know things happen, but when you first get the credit cards, you want to always stay between 2 and 9% until you can figure out how and when and the amount that you need for it to go on the reports for it to grow your score. You can't grow credit limits. I mean, you can't grow the actual numbers without growing the utilization. Meaning, the limits grow, the utilization stays small. You then get, increase the numbers of your score. Sorry about that. I had 2 calls coming in, so I was like, I went, off topic. So not off topic, but I went got a little confused there. So I'll go over that again. When you get credit cards and you're awarded credit limits, you have to make sure you stay between 2 and 9%, especially once she comes on the credit report. It's the queen. The queen has all 5 components. She has credit age, overall credit, mixed credit, and payment history. She's the only one that can come on the report and either make the score go up or the score goes down. No other area of the credit holds all 5 components besides the queen. Installment loans only hold payment history, credit age, overall credit, and mixed credit. Student loans, overall credit, mixed credit, credit age, and payment history. They're the credit cards hold all 5 components. So you want to make sure you utilize your credit between 2 and 9% always. Do anybody have any questions? Oh, my daughter, she's on here showing off. Any questions, anybody, about credit utilization? So, Sean, did I answer your question about... That's it. When the queen hits the room, there's no other way. She must be right when she comes on the board. She must look to the left and must look to the right at payment history, credit age, overall credit, and mixed credit. If she walk on the board, she's unbalanced, she would destroy the score. If she walks in a room and she's balanced between the 2 and 9%, she would increase. So when you have your credit cards, always, especially when she's coming on and FICO is reading the score, make sure she's between 2 to 9%. Is that the total credit cards? So, Sean, if you have, you said 1,800, because that's what I added up. You had 2 250s, a 500, and 1,000, or a 350 or 1,000. So if I'm correct, you had a total of 1,800 with your cards. So we can go over that again if needed, or if anybody have any questions about credit utilization. And yes, Sean, that's the total amount of credit cards. So if you have 3,000 in credit cards overall, you need to make sure each card is utilized between 2 and 9%. When you have credit cards, always look at the credit age. That's so important. You can't always pay attention to the ones that are newer, because that is not the one that determines the overall credit utilization. The ones with the credit age, the older ones, are the ones that determines your overall utilization. That's why the word credit age is so important. So if you have higher balance on the newer ones, make sure you take care of the older ones first. So if you have debt associated with any credit cards with credit age, meaning if they was open like in 2010, 12, 14, make sure those balances are 2 to 9%, because when FICO calculates your score, the overall utilization is based on the credit cards that have the most credit age. So it's credit age overall, however, but when you have credit card debt that's associated with older accounts, make sure you satisfy those debts and ensure they're between 2 and 9%. All right. Any questions, anybody? Guys, don't be shy. I come on every Tuesday to give out, tips about credit utilization, not credit utilization, credit period. So you guys come on and ask the questions. I know my utilization is like 17%. Hi, Miss Lawson, how are you? So you guys are coming on. Please, if you haven't, good question. When you're buying a home, the question was asked, how does utilization help when buying a home? So one thing about utilization when buying a home, underwriters want to ensure that you're not going to use the limits to either pay your mortgage or you're maxing out your credit cards. You will be declined for that because of that reason, excuse me. When you utilize your credit cards and when you're buying a home, you want to make sure your utilization is between 2 and 9%. They're the golden numbers. So if you're maxing out your credit cards to pay bills, or you're maxing out your credit cards because you're not spending responsibly, it will hinder you from buying homes. Again, payment history may be the most abundant, but your utilization will determine the outcome if you get that house or not. Because again, credit utilization builds the credit score. Without credit utilization, you cannot build the score. There's no other way of doing it. Again, a lot of people don't like credit cards because they don't understand money. When you don't understand money, you'll never understand credit. So when you learn to utilize your credit cards, you will begin to see an increase in score. A lot of people will, pay debt off to zero and then don't revolve the card. You would decrease in score because you're not revolving the card. Credit scores increase when you revolve the cards. When you not saying spend crazy, but you have to use all your cards every month. So if you have 2, 10, 15, you must use them every month to determine how to utilize your cards. Let me see. How do you determine the closing statement date? So I always tell people how to pay your credit cards. Get it either emailed to you or get it sent electronically or paper. I set my payments 5 days after the billing statement is up. Not when it's due, but 5 days after. So if my statement comes out on the 1st, on the 6th, I make the first payment. If it's due on the 13th, I'll pay it or if it's due on the 20th, I'll pay the next payment on the 15th. So when you want to have a revolving utilization on your credit cards, make sure you get your statements sent to you either electronically or in the mail. Make your payments the 5 days after you get the statement and 5 days before it's due. I wouldn't do it no other way. Okay, so I have another question. Do medical bills hinder your ability to purchase a home? Your score just dropped 59 points for my son's medical collections. Okay. Medical bills can hinder your score. You have to make sure when you go to the, wherever outpatient or inpatient procedures you're getting done, you have to make sure that the coverage is in network. If not, they will place it on your credit report. If they place it on your credit report, you have to make sure that the company or the hospital you went to or, place of business, make sure that you are in network, meaning your insurance cover it. If your insurance don't cover it, then you're going to get the bill on your report. So my thing is, when it comes to medical bills, make sure that the coverage is in network, meaning the provider you're seeing is covered by the insurance. I hope that answered your question. Okay, so do you only need to pay a small amount of your credit card's bill in advance or all of it? So if you have an $100 balance on your credit cards and you need to pay all of it, but you need to make sure the following month you're revolving your credit. You have to revolve your credit every month. So you will pay 5 days after on the 5th day that the bill come out, and then 5 days before when the actual statement is due. Any other questions? Okay, do anybody have any other questions? Sean asks, is that The total credit card. Yeah, I answered that. Yeah, Sean, that's all your credit cards that you asked. Any other questions about credit cards? What time is it? Okay. Hi, Latrice. So I was talking about. Okay, I have another question. So what they have the wrong address and you never received the bill and they never called to notify you this is on your medical bill, then you need to follow up with the collections. You have to follow up with the collections and make sure, or ask, wherever you were seen at, ask them what address do they have for you. And if your number changed or anything like that, you will have to ensure that they have the correct information. What about cards you use once and don't really use frequently? Is it better to just charge something? Anyway, yes. You have to charge your credit cards every month. If you don't charge your credit cards every month, you will drop in score. The term is called lying dormant. So if you let your credit cards lie dormant or not use them, when you use them, you will decrease in score. So you don't want to just let your credit cards not be used, because when you use them, it's called shocking your credit. Your score will drop. So be mindful, especially if you have merchant cards. No, it's not bad. It's not bad to use your bills. It's not bad to use a bill to put on your credit card. Just make sure whatever bill you have, it's between 2% and 9%, because that is one way to keep the actual credit cards revolving. If the credit card doesn't revolve, then you're not going to get any good use out of it, or you won't increase in score. So yes, if you have a $500 credit limit, put something on there that's like it's $130, or a cell phone bill or anything like that. So again, always revolve your credit cards every month. So when building credit, how many credit cards should you apply for? Me, Nita, I'm going to be honest with you. Me personally, I am a credit card hoarder. I will say that out loud. I don't mind credit cards. If you're going to give me the limits, I'm going to take them. So yes, I won't determine. You're welcome, dear. I won't say there's a limit. FICO says you should have at least 3 to 5. I won't say how many I have. I have enough. So I do not recommend like you have a lot, especially if you don't understand how to utilize them. So start off with 2 or 3. That's what I would do. So you should pay it off. As long as you revolve it every month, pay it off. But again, pay it off 5 days after. Pay it off 5 days after the billing statement. Pay it in half. Pay 5 days after the billing statement and 5 days before it's due. So that's what I would do. 5 days before and 5 days after. Yes, we talked about the Queen. You were late. Let's see. Any other questions? So you guys that's coming on, go back and replay the actual video. If we don't have any more questions, I would end Credit Tip Tuesday about credit utilization. Let's see. Give people a chance to see if they have any questions. Yep, 2 days, pay it every 2 weeks, 5 days after and 5 days before the statement. So yeah, that's true. Let me see. 5-5, I got it. Good, Cassandra. You're welcome. You guys, I'm humble and I'm thankful that you guys tune in every single Tuesday. This is where you get free information regarding different areas of credit. So God bless you all. Guys, go back and replay it. Hashtag replay when you go back, and share, like, love. I really appreciate all of you. You guys have a wonderful night, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Have a good day.